What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS 3 Raw TV. In light of Matt Porter's passing, I saw, of course, the post that his wife put up on Facebook. I listened to Dave Palumbo's video. I've watched several of the videos that people have put up and read as much information as I can to try to keep up to date with what's going on. And one thing that really kind of shocked me and kind of really bothered me was the fact that Matt himself knew that something was wrong with him, but the doctors couldn't necessarily figure it out. So they just kept sending him away. And he had had pneumonia previously, and he went back in there like, oh, we can't find the pneumonia, so you just have a cold, like a bad cold. And, I mean, it was just back and forth. He went to, like, urgent care and stuff like that, and he kept getting sent home, saying, no, you're fine, it's just a cold, it's just that. When finally they did, like, a chest scan and they found a mass in there. But the whole time that they were telling him he was fine, had they been able to diagnose him right away and get him on the right treatments, he probably would still be here today. Like, there's almost no doubt about it. So I kind of stepped back. I said, this is a problem with a lot of physicians, doctors, etc. There is a lack of time for physicians, doctors, surgeons, all this stuff. They're always cramming so much into such a short amount of time because their days end like ours do, right? So that they're so preoccupied with so many things that a lot of times they miss things. Doctors are not perfect. They're not gods. They're not out there knowing everything in the world that there is to know about medicine or your body or whatever the case may be. So realistically, besides the fact that they can not necessarily have the right diagnosis and miss the diagnosis and screw things up, take that and put it aside, there are also many doctors out there. I'm not saying this is what happened with Matt, but there are many doctors out there that don't like to work with bodybuilders and people that are in the fitness industry because of the drug aspect. So, like, for instance, I used to go to the doctor, and when I would tell them what I was doing, they'd be like, oh, they would just give me a lecture. And if I had, like, broke my arm, they'd be like, you broke your arm because you're on steroids. Like, they literally would fuck with me all the time. So I avoided going to doctors for years. No blood work, no fucking medications, nothing. I just never went. And once I actually wound up having inflammation back in my shoulder again. This is before I tore my rotator cuff. It was after I actually tore the bicep tendon in pro wrestling, and I was having problems with inflammation in it again. So I decided I was going to go to the doctor because I really didn't know what to do. It was hurting so bad. So I went to the doctor, and it was a new doctor, and I was lucky enough to get a new doctor that he was a little bit younger, and he took my blood work and stuff, and he said, man, you got some crazy levels over here for your age. And I said, well, doc, it's because I'm taking like Anadrol 50, I'm taking Winstrol. Like, I started rambling shit off, and he was like, I'm not really familiar with taking, like, what do you mean? I said, well, these are steroids, because he could tell how big I was at the time, and he goes, oh, I kind of figured. He's like, all right, listen. So wrote to me on the chart, he closed the chart, he put it on the table, he said, listen, go down the hall into the last office on the left, and just sit there and wait for me. I was like, okay. So I got up off the fucking little table with the paper and shit on it in the exam room. I walked down the hallway, I'm sitting there in the fucking chair, I'm just like chilling. I'm like, like, what the fuck? Like, I'm in trouble now. Like, fuck. I'm like, the cops are going to come because I told them about steroids. Like, fuck, I was freaking out. So he comes in the room, he closes the door, he said, listen, this is what we're going to do. He said, if I put that in your chart right now that you just disclosed that information, and for some reason they pull this file for your insurance, you're never going to get insurance. You're not going to get life insurance, you're not going to get health insurance, you're going to be screwed. So what we're going to do is, I'm going to put in the chart with me, the file, he put it on the desk. He said, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, your cholesterol was a little bit high, your liver enzymes are a little bit off. We made some dietary corrections. He goes, next time you come in here, be off. He said, I mean off for a good 2-3 months. Let your body normalize. These levels will change, and we'll be able to say in that file, basically that, shut the phone off. Basically, we'll be able to say in that file that we made some dietary adjustments and they worked. So no medication or further exam is needed for these problems. Right? He said, is that cool? And I was like, doc, I'm like, thank you so much. It's like the best. Thank you. I mean, I didn't know what to say to him because that was the first time I actually had a doctor give a shit about me and not the drugs that I was taking, and not damn me for, but he was a lot younger than some of the other doctors. And the doctor that I was going to for TRT and stuff before Titan Medical was pretty good too. But here's the problem. Many of us avoid going to the doctors because we don't want to have our balls busted about the lifestyle that we lead. Other people, other versions of what's going on here is people will go to the doctor and the doctors will be misdiagnosed, or they won't really know what the fuck's going on, or they're at like an urgent care where there's 20 different doctors. They may see a different doctor every time. They don't have a specific doctor. And this doctor says it's one thing, that doctor says it's another, and you're coming back for the same ailment, and they're telling you it's fucking different things every time. You're like, what the fuck? So right now, what I want to do is employ you guys to go and contact Titan Medical. Titan was the first place that I ever went to medically that didn't only not give a shit that, well, I was or wasn't taking stuff in the past, stuff like that, but they were more concerned with me. They didn't want to sell me products. They were more concerned with what the fuck was going on with me. So when I went to Titan for my my TRT, I had to do blood work, and my testosterone was super low, but my liver enzymes were high. If they didn't put me on the testosterone, they didn't send me testosterone and say, you're good. They said, we need to get your liver enzymes in check and get you healthy before you can do anything. Like, they immediately cared about me, right? Then, fast forward, like last year, my wife was having these symptoms that she had been to doctors and fucking specialists. She had been, all of them said, you're fine. Blood work is fine. There's nothing wrong with you. She was literally thought she had cancer or something. She goes, I must have cancer because they're looking for all this other shit. They haven't done a cancer check. And I feel like I'm going to die. I don't think I'm going to live another year. Like, I'm really bad. Like, I'm not healthy, even though all this blood work and stuff says I am. So I said, you know what? Fuck those doctors. Go to Titan. So she goes to Titan. They ran all the blood work, and they did a panel that the other doctors wouldn't do. And they found out what the fuck was wrong with her. She went to doctor after doctor after doctor after specialist, and they just fucking let her hang. They couldn't figure it out. They weren't digging deep. They didn't give a shit. They pushed her on, shoved her out the door, just like they did to Matt Porter. Different doctors, but they did the same shit. Once the blood work came back, they saw that her DHEA level was so low it was non-existent. And that was causing these symptoms, but also her testosterone should be in a certain range. It was 0 too. She had 2 hormones in her body that were almost completely deficient, 100%. And these other doctors never looked at it, and they never thought about it. They never checked into it. They didn't give a fuck. Titan Medical said, this is the problem. We're going to treat these. We're going to retest you after like 2 weeks or something like that, see where your levels are, and we're going to see how you feel. We're going to do a 2-prong. We're going to go with how you're feeling and what your blood levels are, and we're going to adjust that shit, and we're going to get you good to go. And lo and behold, they fixed her. Like when I went to see Titan this past April, I hadn't seen them since in person. I talked to John and Sheree all the time, and Megan. Hi Megan. But I hadn't seen them in person, and I literally walked up to the hotel. They were checking in the hotel. I saw Sheree's in John, and I immediately grabbed Sheree and I pulled her aside and I was like, here's the deal. I said, I started to cry. I was like, you guys don't understand. Like, you saved my wife's life. Like, she thought she was dying. Like, you gave me my wife back, right? And it was moving for both parties, them and me. And I was like, you guys don't understand how much you did for her. Like, you changed her life. So at that point, I knew, I was like, there's a big difference between what goes on out there and people that actually give a shit. But Titan is formed. It was created to give people a place to go where they're not going to be judged, and they will go way out of their way to look at things that regular doctors won't look at, right? They're going to look at things that may be the problem based on symptoms, and they're going to check everything, not just a couple things and say, it can't be testosterone. We never checked that anyway, so it's not going to be that. It might be. Who the fuck knows? But after watching this whole thing go down with Matt, I know there are a lot of people out there right now that don't go to doctors at all. They'll skip the doctors because they're, afraid of being shamed by the doctor, talked down to, treated like a fucking criminal. Do not sleep on this. Go to Titan, and the very least, get your blood work done. Talk to Titan Medical. Talk to the doctor. I'm not saying you have to go get TRT. I'm saying health-wise, get everything checked so that you don't wind up like Matt, going to place after place, and like my wife going to place after place, and then just pushing you out the door. If you go to Titan Medical, they will help you. They will listen to you. They will figure out what the fuck is going on so that you're not sitting there thinking you're crazy and you're going to die. Nobody wants to be left like that. I've seen it in person. And after seeing Matt be pushed away by these doctors over and over again, I'm like, fuck, what if he had gone to, instead of urgent care or whatever, if he had gone to like a specialist, said, fuck it, like, I'm not breathing, I'm going to go to a fucking pulmonary specialist or something. Give me a fucking thing, script, I'm going there. I understand that you think I just have a cold, but here's the deal. Like, if he had pushed it, but he listened to the doctors because he trusted the doctors. And I'm not saying doctors shouldn't be trusted. What I'm saying is they fucked up because they weren't looking at the things that really should be looked at. So please, guys, don't don't let Matt have passed away in vain and not learn anything from this. At the very least, we can learn shit from this so we can use it in our own lives and help others. And it's exactly what I'm trying to do with you guys today. I use Titan. My wife uses Titan. My friends use Titan. My clients use Titan. We all use Titan specifically because they give a fuck and they will take care of us. That's the main thing. They won't overlook things. They won't let things go. They will make sure they will figure out what the fuck is wrong with you and take care of you. And that is what is needed in the medical community, period. And we just don't see that a lot because it's just they're severely understaffed, they're severely overworked, and some of those doctors and stuff are judgmental. So hopefully you guys are doing well. Hopefully you guys can learn something like I can from Matt Porter's death and try to keep track of more of what's going on with ourselves and not take no for an answer. Like Dave Palumbo says, if the doctor tells you you're fine and you know you're not fine, go to another fucking doctor. If that doctor tells you you're fine, go to another fucking doctor. Find someone until they fucking listen, and then you'll get your answers, but you don't have to look any further than Titan Medical. BicePsTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. BicePsTraining.com is a lot. It's a Titan Medical bicep. That's why we're still here, and we are out.